Welcome everybody, welcome to Flat Earth Philosophy, where everything here is flat earth. All based on ancient philosophy, and 1 + 1 = 2. In other words, a little bit of this starts showing us the entire picture. Now today's video is going to be a little bit of philosophy about the way things work in our realm, about creation, going forth and multiplying and what that means. But to start with, I just thought I'd show you this magnet I have here. The iron filings on it, iron sand actually. See, these Earth is about, see this is a secret in itself. The Earth is like a ring magnet, right? Well, go and look up axial radial magnets. Axial and radial ring magnets. They don't actually, I didn't get the information whether it's that's what these microwave magnets are, but it's doing the same thing. These microwave magnets in the magnetron, the same as Earth. Look, tropical gap, South Pole, North. Realise the South Pole is only a returning North Pole. It's all about the energy of the centre hyperboloid. Sending out, expressing itself, creating a hyperboloid in the way of a torus. And that field has to come back for recycling. This is perpetual motion in the magnetic field. And in the perpetual motion in the magnetic field, you have to have the tropical gap. You have to have the gap. Now, you see in this ring magnet, you see the two fields, the southern field and the northern field. Look at the northern field. And with certain light on this, there's clear zones between, even just this little bit of fluff around here, between the two fields, indicating the tropical gap. And under certain light, if I put the light under it like this, you can see there's gaps. I don't know, I'm not sure if you can see it. There's a slight gap. That's the tropical gap. Okay? And it's quite obvious there's two fields going on here, the southern and the northern and the south. There's north and south, right? Look at it, it's quite obvious. Earth is, even science tells you Earth is like a magnet. But they don't tell you it's a actual radial magnet. Let's see if I can balance. Oh. Let's see if I can show you by holding this at the same time. So let's just go like this. Look, centre north, you've got a gap, darker, then you've got the southern field out here, look at it. It just shows it all right there. This is what Earth is. It's the same design. This is Earth. Now that's that. Now back onto a little bit of philosophy. Now those who've been following me will understand, or should, well, I'm not sure if anyone understands, but the system, our flat earth system, and the tropical zone, the tropical gap, feeds back into the centre of creation. Feeds back into creation. And all along, I've been stating the two entities, creation and, what's this? There's creation, the hyperboloid, right? Its expression is the toroidal field. So what would that toroidal be if it's come from creation? It's the created. So we have the creator and the created. And creation is singularity. Singular, male and female, north and south poles have merged, found equilibrium. And that equilibrium is what creates. That is creation. the forces have come together and found equilibrium and created. But that's only half the story. Not everything finds equilibrium. The two forces, not everything marries and goes off and lives happily ever after and creates rebirths, creates birth. The two forces find equilibrium, but there's an excess that continues the cycle, which keeps the perpetual motion. Otherwise we'll just all fall dead and stationary. We'd all just be dust of the earth. But there's life on earth because there's the perpetual flowing, you call them electrons. They have to keep flowing. Okay, so singularity is male and female, or north and south pole, found equilibrium, perfection. And it's a state of rest that creates inertia, and earth is the plane of inertia, balanced with inside the perpetual motion. So over here we have the created, and we've come from singularity. The created becomes dual, separated from creation, is separated, cast out of the garden, say, becomes a dual system, male and female, or north and south pole, or weak force, strong force, or proton, electron. So you become a dual system. Now, you've been expressed from creation, therefore you have to replicate creation. So the job for the male and the female to get together to find perfection and create. What do? They create. They create. So they create children. And what have they done? This is conscious. We've got to understand, Earth is a conscious state. It's about consciousness. Perfection. But right now we're talking about, well, I'm getting a bit confused between man and earthly things, so I'll try and stick to one at a time. So we got creation, perfection. We've got man and woman here. They go forth and multiply. It's written in the Bible to go forth and multiply. Why does it say that? Because you have to create. What happens if you create? It feeds back into the creation. Because Earth is a conscious state, you've been expressed from creation, two minds. So you have to reproduce and create. You create another mind. So what you're doing is mining for gold. Because your mining feeds back into the sun. That's the powerhouse. That's, like, you could say that's creation. God basically is. It's fed by the mind you've created. You're feeding back into the system. Okay? The same thing that's happening here in the tropics. When electrons pair, they create the hydrogen atoms combine, create the helium, and it gets, Helios is the sun, gets fed back into the system, the main sun. We see a sun out here, but you've got to understand creation. The real sun's back in here. Imitated, this is the expression of what's in here. It's the created, but there's the creator. So we cannot go back into creation. We've come from creation. We're the created. So there has to be the two entities. It's creation. If nothing's created, then there's nothing created. So we've been expressed from creation. So we're in the realm of creation, and we have to create, because we have to replicate creation, because we're an expression of creation. And mind, conscious state, create another mind to feed back into the system. That's how the energy works. And that's why we get this perpetual cycle. And it works exactly the same as Earth. In religion, if people have really read the Bible or other Gnostic literature, well, I'm not sure if they understand that, but in other Gospels and stuff, somewhere. I've read it twice, seen it twice. It states, those couples who marry and do not produce, I'm just the messenger, don't blame me, because you are not feeding back into the system. That's how the system works. This is life. It's a recycling system of life. And this is another problem we have on earth here, and this is probably what the Freemasons or Illuminatis know, why they have to annihilate people, depopulate, because we have a system now, I think, we've got too many people and there's not enough appropriating. Is that the word? Procreating, producing. This is very bad for Earth, the sun, our entire system. We have too many people and they're not producing. That's an imbalance in nature. That's probably what's creating this flippin', climate change BS we've got now. You could say it's cyclical, it's part of nature, but whatever. But man has always been on Earth because Earth is a conscious state. Without man there would be no Earth. Believe it or not, I'm telling you. So there we have a problem, people. You've got a shitload of old people and a shitload of couples that aren't creating birth, or just creating one child. Like you got that many old people and then just got one couple over here creating a baby. That's just not enough for the system. It doesn't work that way. So there's a bit of a problem. So I've just explained two phrases, or whatever you call them, out of the religious text, because it's all factual if you know how to read it and understand it. Go forth and multiply. Why? You have to mine for gold. That's the Anunnaki story, isn't it? That's like the original, one of the earliest stories we know of creation is the Anunnaki story. There's no aliens. That's silly. That's common man's science fiction garbage. And you must go forth and multiply, because that's the way the system works. Okay? So, and this is what we have in the earthly system. I've already explained it anyway. The female, the male coming up, finding equilibrium, atoms, connecting here, creating helium, helios, it's the sun, gold, mining for gold, and that gets blown back into the tropics. It's all about magnetic fields, strong magnetic fields. That's why we have male and female, don't we? A weak force and a strong force. This is what the magnetic field is, but science hasn't told you, whether they knew or not, I don't know, is that the potential energy of both fields overall is the same, but one always has to be more widely dispersed to create a weaker force. That's why we have male and female, a weak force and a strong force. Proton, electron. So this is just how nature works. And it's just a strong connection, evidence, proof that we're all connected with the earth. It's the same thing. And we all knew them as females or daughters. I'm finding now scientists using daughters a lot. So they must have understood the Elliot, but they're letting it all come out now because people like me are exposing it. So they've got all the information all ready to go. They just wait till someone starts knocking on the door. Then they go, oh, okay, here it is, quietly, if you know what I mean. So they're just dragging their feet, but it's all coming out now, and it's all going to be exposed. And this is only just the first video in a couple of videos I'll be putting out, because I've found the ultimate. I've been on a mission and I've finally discovered the ultimate. It's been in the face of man for more than 2,000 years, right in his face, and he's never understood it. I'm putting it all together. Physics, the connection between physics, earthly things, man, and religion. Why religion? And it goes right back to the beginning, because religion is connected to creation. And we've just been the dodgy dudes in the middle here, spinning a lot of bullshit in the false world. When you connect these beginning and the end together, you've gone through the whole cycle. And that's what we're doing now. We've gone through the whole cycle. We've returned back to the golden era of Aquarius, where everything will be revealed. Nothing buried will be unburied, whatever the saying is. Nothing hid will be unhidden, something like that. So I haven't done much for my Patreons lately because I've had this dodgy camera to deal with, and the fact that I've been worried that I couldn't get it onto my Patreon page anyway, because the last one I don't think they could see it, although it said it would be on Patreon for 3 days before it went public. Why it does that, I never asked for that. Why can't it stay on Patreon? I do not know. So there's a big video coming up, and I think I'll give that to my Patreons. But if you all want to know the connection between physics, earthly, man, spiritual, religion, I've got it coming up. Okay, that's what that video is all about. A bit of philosophy, understanding how the earth works in relation to man, going forth and multiplying. Okay, and do us a favour, if you put the likes up, more people will get to see this stuff, because the next video or two is going to be the ultimate video of all time. It just puts the nail in the coffin. It just closes the door to the whole story of creation, why man, meaning to life, earth, why it's connected to religion, why you need to all understand religion, why common man is nothing but a zombie, and he'll stay a zombie until he opens his mind and starts realising, thinking. Seek and you shall find. All esoteric knowledge is written in zombie language for zombies, because it's not written for zombies to understand. It's only written for those who seek the truth, who open their mind. And you open the mind and the stars are right, you get your alignment, you open your third eye and you get to know. You become a prophet, because you profit from the divine awakening in spirit, soul. You gain your soul, and then you become a disciple, because you are the decipher of the esoteric language. No man who dons a robe and hangs out at your local church will decipher religion the way it's supposed to be deciphered. All the esoteric language. No. Quite frankly, you're wasting your time. It comes from within. If you don't wake this up, you don't get it. You don't worship idols. The whole Bible tells you don't worship idols. So people go to church, into the idol store, and worship some idol. Some white man with long hair. Here's a representation of something, an event, but that event comes from within, not without. Nobody's going to give it to you. You have to find it yourself. If you're not going to open this up, then it's not going to come to you. You go to church and wear all your pretty clothes and, try and impress each other as much as you like. It's not going to help. You need to well, it's a tricky one there, because you can read the Bible, you have the faith. Having the faith is good, but you still have to be in search of the truth. You're not going to understand the Bible for what it is unless you are woken up. But there's lots of other text that you can read that's a bit more straightforward, understandable than the Bible, the way that's written. Anyway, if you all put the likes up, get the numbers out, this gets spread widely. And the funny thing is, the first time ever, I went into the camera shop and he said, "Was that you? Was that you on that video talking about the moon craters being concave instead of convexed?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "You're right, it couldn't stop seeing the convexed. And everyone's been led to believe that all the craters on the moon are concaved. It's about this and this. All along they're blisters, more like blisters. And if you've seen an electron microscopic view of a woman's uterus lining, same thing. As above, so below. The moon is the mother. Sun's the father." So my videos must be getting out there. Anyway, gone on a bit with this video. So anyway, yeah, like and share. Cheers everyone.